Give me a couple minutes and I'll help you understand how to sell any AI agency offer to anyone. And I'm just going to ask you a couple questions for you to understand more about your offer and what questions to ask your prospects. So the first question that I have to ask you is, you're probably thinking, I have my offer in my head. This is what I'm going to sell. You're probably watching a lot of content currently and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to sell this, but you actually have no idea if you can actually sell this, if this is a ready to go offer or not. Right. And so we're asking these couple questions to yourself and see if it makes sense. Right. So with your offer, how many leads can you generate with your offer the next 30 days? Right. What can you promise and realistically generate for your clients? Right. 10 leads, 100 leads, 50 leads. Right. Now, how many leads would be able to convert into qualified leads? Right. Not just like a bunch of emails and phone numbers, like how many of these leads would turn into qualified leads? How many won't actually book a call, show up to a Zoom meeting, pick up the phone? Right. Now, once you have that, how much revenue is that going to be for your clients, for a prospective client? What can they expect? What do their margins look like? Right. Whatever product or service that they sell with the leads that you generate, what revenue would that actually look like for them? What profit margin would that look like? Okay. Now we're running the numbers. What is the ROI? Well, the ROI, you can only understand the ROI is how much are you charging for your product or service, right? To understand the ROI first, what is a typical industry standard close rate for a business that you work with, or what is their close rate, right? Now, what is the ROI from that, right? If you get let's say you get 10 leads, 5 of them are qualified, their close rate is 20%, then you close one deal. What does that one deal look like? $10,000, okay, 30% profit, they make $3,000, right? Now, what is the cost per acquisition? What are you charging? And what is the ad spend or the other costs to get them that, right? If you can run the numbers with them and you've made it this far, you have a pretty good offer. You probably have it ironed out in your head, right? And then from here, once you run all these numbers and you charge something that makes sense for your cost per acquisition, right? So let's say the profit that they would make, from 10 leads is like 30 grand, right? Your cost per acquisition, let's say your cost per acquisition for that was $500. So that makes a lot of sense. It's a 6x ROI, right? You don't want to go below kind of 2 or 3x ROI when it makes sense for them. So you charge something that makes sense, right? With their cost per acquisition, right? So let's say I like to put my prospects into at least a 3-month contract, have a setup fee and a rev share usage-based pricing, right? So minimum, you want to sell something that's $5,000 or more, and you can make more above that $5,000. So if you ask these questions to yourself when you're thinking about your offer and you can answer all these questions, you have an offer. If you don't, take a couple steps back and change your offer so they can actually answer these questions. Because if you can't answer these questions with utmost confidence, these are the exact questions that your prospect is going to ask you during your sales calls. And if you can't answer any of these questions, you don't understand their niche, you don't understand your product, and you don't have an offer. So before you start jumping on any more sales calls, ask yourself these questions for your AI agency offer to figure out if you actually have an offer or not. Because these are the exact questions that they're going to ask you. And the questions that you're going to ask them. When you get on a call with them, you understand, what have you been doing to get leads the past couple of days? Right? So how many leads have you generated in the past 30 days? Right? Okay. What if I said I could generate you 30 leads in the next 30 days, and then we'd have like a 50% booking rate to get 15 leads? How does that sound for you? Oh, it sounds great. Okay. But let's look at like realistically what those numbers break down for you. What would that look like? What's your closing rate? Like typically the people that work with us would close at least 20%. Okay, you feel like it's about the same for you? Okay. For you, like, what's your average job size? Okay, 5 grand. How much do you make from that on 5 grand job? How much do you make? That's the real number here. Okay. You make 2 grand. Okay, that's great. So I guess our ROI here, right? You go through all these numbers. They're saying that you understand their numbers and you're painting the picture that your offer would actually make sense for them, that they would profit. And then that's why they would go with you. Because then I'm just trying to understand the logic of your offer and see if it'll work in my business, right? And it's simple. Numbers won't lie, right? And if people believe the numbers that you portray for them, they're going to buy your product or service. And so if you want to work with my team to help you scale to $10,000 per month or more in the next 90 days, book a call with us below and we're going to see if you're a good fit to work with us.